So I will call this meeting to order, and this is the Planning Commission for the Village of Enon. This is case 2022-02. Kevin, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor?
Present?
Mr. Wozak?
Here.
Mr. Alexander?
Here.
Mr. Hanna?
Here. Rob.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to officially welcome Rob. Welcome to the board. Rob Alexander, Enon resident, and Chuck Wozak, welcome. I apologize, I wasn't here for the last meeting, a little bit under the weather, but volunteering for these boards is something that the village appreciates, and I know it can be time consuming, although we don't have too many meetings with the Planning Commission, but we thank you for serving on the boards.
I did miss a golf outing for this.
Wow, that's dedication.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome.
And just a word or two about the Planning Commission. We are not quite as, what's the best way to say it, formal as the Board of Zoning Appeals. They have powers where they can subpoena witnesses, and they've been referred to in trainings as quasi-judicial. They're pretty formal. We're just a little bit more laid back than that. So our job is to make a reasonable decision based upon the information that's provided. And today before us we have a lot split. And what I will do now is, Kevin, I will turn it over to you for that background information.
All right. Letter has been submitted to the commission from Joe Smalden. He's the property owner located at 106 West Main Street and 77 North Green Street. Joe has requested a change in the lot sizes of both his properties to be more uniform with the properties in that area. The 15-day notice to Springfield newspaper was submitted August 2nd. 15-day notice submitted to the owners within 300 feet, was August 2nd. Package to the board was August 2nd. Letter to the owner also on August 2nd. And then I guess in your packets there you have the drawing with the highlighted areas of the property. I think that's it that I have right there.
So, Kevin, as far as the actual information that has been submitted, we are looking at a new lot that's going to be split from previous parcels, and that new lot would result in an 81-foot by basically 150-foot lot.
Correct.
So we have an irregular shape. The scooting of this lot line would square that up, rectangular, and make it really consistent with the other lots in the plat.
Correct. Yeah, it's currently kind of a irregular shape, and moving the lot line, it would square everything up to be more symmetrical.
What's that zoned? Is that downtown?
Yes.
I think it is downtown district. Okay. Just a couple quick questions. Existing buildings that are there, would and I can't see how it would, but just let me ask this question. Would the relocation of that lot line, in essence squaring that lot up, would that create any type of setback issues with any structures that are on the existing property now?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay.
No.
And then what would be proposed to be constructed once, if that were approved and once it were squared up, what would be proposed?
He wants to put up a building for storage. I think you have the picture.
40 by 32, stroke the garage.
I can't find that. I'm looking in the wrong packet here.
Okay. Yeah, Rick pointed out it's a 40 by 32 foot. And that would be in the rear?
Yes.
Okay. And that would be used for storage?
To my knowledge, yes. That's
Okay.
what Joe has explained, and if he can explain that a little bit better, so.
Any other questions for our administrator before we hear from the applicant?
I guess I have one question. So the current lot lines, there's a home on the small lot and then a business on the larger one. So part of the business's current lot will become part of the home's new lot. Does that mean also a change in zoning? You said it's zoned downtown, so both are zoned downtown. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah, so the beauty of the downtown district is it would fall under residential use because that's the primary use, unless he's using that for a business. So whatever the use is at the time, that downtown is a nice umbrella for a combination of both.
Okay,
Yep. So there would be no rezoning that would take place.
very good.
Good question.
Yeah, and this would probably be more appropriate for Mr. Smaldon, but I know that there are two trailers in the back portion of that property. Is this storage building to replace those two, or?
Right
Yeah, hang on just a second. Any more questions for Mr. Seifert? Okay. Now, applicant, you want to come up and address the question, please? Thank you. And just state your name and your address for the record.
Joe Smaldon, 6905 Chalma Trail, Enon.
Okay. Good question.
I noticed, went down there this morning. I walked the properties and stuff like that, and they're both more or less mobile units. So
Yeah.
your intention is to basically augment those two mobile units with a fixed emplacement garage or storage area.
The trailers will probably stay there. The semi-trailer, eventually I will move and perhaps have a storage shed put up there. The idea of the garage, I need a garage to work out of. I own probably 10 houses in Enon. I need a
I noticed. I put in Smaldon as like. I didn't know we were talking about the big valley here.
Yeah. I presently do any work that needs to be done on any of the other properties in part of the garage on 106 West Main. My tenant would like to have more room. Of course, the rent will go up. So that was my intention, to build a garage. So I've got to do painting and woodwork and whatever necessary for the rest of my properties. I need a place to do it.
So now the orientation of this unit will be toward the alley or toward Green, North Green.
It
In other
will,
words,
it will be not quite in the middle. It'll be closer to the alley.
okay. So, but the access will be from the alley.
Yes.
Okay. The other thing that I noticed is that the two trailers are presently elevated. In other words, if you're going to put a facility in there, do you plan on raising the ground level to the level of those trailer storages?
Actually, I'm going to use the ground level behind the house, and I'll probably take out some of the dirt behind the trailers, making that area a little smaller.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's it.
So you're going to end up with a residential use from the house and then basically business out of the storage unit that you would put up, or the garage, I would say.
I don't plan on it being business. I plan on it just being place for me, my personal garage.
Gotcha. Okay. To take care of those little business issues. that you
Anything I
have
need to do in the garage.
Yep. Okay.
Store my car, my jet skis.
Sure.
Do any kind of work that pertains to my rentals.
Do we expect to see your legs sticking out from under a truck while you're working on it, like on Main? That was the old days when you had the car business.
I'm retired.
Yeah.
So now I just write checks for things I want done.
Okay.
I don't believe that.
We'll miss the legs sticking out from under the.
I have a question for you. can we handle this garage situation in this meeting today, or does that need to be another meeting?
So that would be, so as far as whatever you're going to, it's nice to know what the future use will be, but as far as the placement of that garage, the height and all that stuff, that would be under jurisdiction of the administrator under the zoning part.
Okay,
So, but this would be the first step to get things kind of squared up, and then the placement and all that stuff would fall under zoning.
I'm with you.
Yep. So there'd be one more spot. Is there anything else that you would like to say to the commission?
I can't think of anything. The drainage is all good. I don't expect the garage to be a problem. Kevin and I discussed boundaries. Everything has to be 6 feet away from, I really didn't understand that on the alley side. I would think it would have to be 25 feet away from the alley, but Kevin says 6 feet all the way around, and it's more than that, so there shouldn't be any problem.
And we'll take a look at that again, of course, before you
Sure.
actually do the construction part. You'll have to submit,
Sure.
the placement on the
I've
lot.
I've got it staked out, so when Kevin comes over, he see exactly where it'll be.
I saw the stakes.
Yeah.
I saw the stakes. Just a question for Kevin. Do you envision any impact on utilities like water, gas? I mean, gas and electric are probably out of your swim lane, but moving that property line, will that will the water service be impacted to those properties?
No, I
that
don't. I don't see any issue there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and on my end, I would like to put gas, and if I can't hook up to natural gas, I'll go to propane. But I do want water and electricity.
Do you have sewage running back that way?
Have a septic tank. Everything in Enon's on septic tank, other than Main Street, as I understand.
If you're within 300 feet of the sewage line, I think you got to tap in. True?
That's through the health department.
Yeah.
And I don't know that would be the case for a storage unit, but
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying
it
that.
would be something to,
Something.
yeah.
So
I think everybody, future, probably not the near future, in Enon, that's going to be a big project.
Are there any other questions for our applicant, Mr. Alexander?
Yeah, I'm not even sure this would affect my decision, but I guess I'm curious about the driving reason for doing this. I know you said that the tenant would like more space, but it seems like most of that space is going to be used by you, your garage, the trailers, and all that. And you own both properties, so it seems you could build the garage there anyway and use that. So I'm just curious. I mean, what's your main motivation for doing this?
Squaring up the properties pretty much, because I also own a property on the other side, across the street. And that area up front is designated as Smalden Plat. I guess I own everything but one house on that parcel of land. So I'd like a new place for me, place that nobody bothers me. I can go to and close the door and do my thing. Where the garage is that I use now, and I'm really not complaining, but when I go over there to do something for myself, it seems like a half hour, somebody shows up, just wanting to shoot the breeze or visit, or I can't get as much done. And I love people visiting. Don't let me be misunderstood, but I need to get things done sometimes too.
But and to kind of, let me just kind of take that one step further. If some point in time, well, it's going to happen at some point in time, that property that fronts on Main Street, this would make it more appealing for you to sell that off. You still maintain the other lot with the building on it, and that just seems like, from a reasonable standpoint, I'm looking at it, that would make that easier. It's going to happen somewhere down the road.
That's why I assumed this was happening.
Yeah. I don't have the car lot sold. In fact, we talked about it at one time. I raised the price another 100,000 from that price, and I'm still getting people interested in it. But I don't particularly care to sell it. But if somebody is crazy enough to pay the price, I probably would.
Okay.
I'm not changing anything with those two properties other than to put a garage on the residential, and the other will be, they're both rentals, they'll both remain rentals, And Main Street will remain a car lot.
Any other questions?
Not for me.
So the garage issue, it seems like it's inconsequential to our decision today, or am I wrong?
Yeah, it is. I mean, that is going to be, this lot split to square this up is one issue. And it's just nice to know future, whatever. Then that part is going to be a whole other issue for Kevin to deal with administratively.
Yeah.
This
vote.
commission is focused on, does this lot change, split, is that good for Enon?
Is it going to have any detrimental effects?
Okay.
And,
Yep,
and
exactly right.
but it's to Mr. Smallton's credit that he said, here's what I want to build, here's the size and all that, and then basically the orientation, because it could impact either the alleyway on one side or Green Street on the other, depending on what he builds or where he faces it. So to his credit, he says, hey, here it is. We ask a couple of questions. It's like, okay, well, if there's no impact on the alleyway, no impact on Green, and no impact on Main Street, it's like, cool.
So there was, and I did try to find it over the weekend, and I cannot, somewhere tucked away, and I'm just stating from my memory in our zoning code, where somewhere it says irregular shaped lots shall be basically discouraged, not prohibited, but discouraged. So from the village's standpoint, we want to see everything nice and square or kind of consistent. An acceptable lot today is 100 by 200. This is an existing plat that did not have those standards back in the day. But squaring this up would make everything more consistent on that street.
I would think so.
That's just my take on it.
I think it'd be good for everybody. Me, I don't personally care. I could afford to buy another property and build a garage somewhere else. But that's been my bread and butter since the 80s. I grew up there. It's made me a lot of money. I love that property. If I ever got rid of the car lot, I would probably build a house there. But it's just convenient for me at this point. And there's hardly any properties available on Main Street anymore.
Any other questions, comments? At this point, I would entertain a motion to approve this lot split as proposed by Mr. Smallton.
So moved?
Need a second?
I second.
Kevin, call the roll.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Wozak,
Yes.
Mr. Alexander,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
And that motion is approved. I'll convey this to the council. Now, word of caution, Section 18506 appeals to council. Any person that may feel aggrieved by a decision by the planning commission should file notice within 5 days and then an actual petition to our fiscal officer within 15 days. So we have a 5-day waiting period to see if anybody should object. And then we'll take it to council, get their blessing on it, and we'll be done with it.
So we're talking a period, a time of 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Yep.
I'm not complaining because I don't understand how this works. But me owning everything, I thought perhaps from day one, survey all the way through, I would be done in 2 weeks. We've just passed 3 months. So not complaining to anybody in particular.
And who's this gentleman behind you?
This is Louis Riancho. He did the
You-
survey. His company did the survey.
So you had the best.
Yeah.
So
And I was hoping when we were done here, he could take what he needs to take to the county, and I guess my next move is to have deeds made.
Yep. 2 weeks. We'll sign off on it and go from there.
Okay, so
And we'll notify you.
that sounds great. I thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, gentlemen.
I do have one item.
Good preparation, good package.
Thank you.
One item to discuss. We are looking for a replacement for Mr. Jerry Bennett, who has served the village on council, served on several committees, served on the planning commission for years, and unfortunately, he is unable to serve. I don't know where we are at on that, Kevin. Have we had any? And I ask you, not to look at the previous applicants that we had, but to start the process over again.
Yeah.
Have we had any interest?
We haven't had anybody call, send anything in to my knowledge to this day, so
Okay, well,
I
maybe
guess
if,
we'll,
Shame somebody.
we are gonna have to shame somebody. If you guys know of anybody that might be willing to serve, please send them our way. So, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.